Justice comes. You will account for your actions. I'm falling. I'm their victim. I feel sick. Life has knocked me down. Hello, this is Carrie O'Donnell from Tarot Soul Writer. And if you would like a personal reading with me, please go to my website, tarotsoulwriter.com, press book a reading, and I'd be happy to do a reading for you. And just a note, I do have some Sundays available starting in January, and I know that will help a lot of people's schedule. Looking forward to reading for you. This video is going to be on Elon Musk, aka Leon. I felt a real strong pull to do this video today. I asked a lot of questions of my guides, and I did get what I feel is a whole story of what's to come. My opening question was, what is Elon Musk's fate? What, if any, involvement does he have in this past election? And basically what's coming up for him. So let's start the soul writing. Let's start the story. I will say that there was something very Greek tragedy about the way the story would unfold for me. So I would have, say, a narrator, who I believe is one of my guides. And then I would hear the voice of Elon. I would hear the voice of Biden. There were multiple voices. And then there would be like the chorus in a Greek tragedy, in which there were a bunch of spiritual entities that almost seemed to sing or chant some sort of lesson or talk directly to Elon when he said something in the soul writing. It was very interesting. I did get a real Greek tragedy feel. So the story begins like this: retreating, stepping back from hostilities. I have a dream. Organizing my thoughts, prioritizing tasks, focusing on one issue, travel, manifest destiny. In this paragraph, I do feel I was going into the mind of Elon in the past. I believe this idea of travel or a trip had something to do, allegedly, with his trip to Russia or his meeting with Putin. I feel like he was focusing on some sort of a mission here, and he felt justified in his actions because of manifest destiny. Now, without going into some historic thing, basically, manifest destiny is the point of view that we as a nation were ordained by God in order to spread democracy and capitalism throughout the world. And we are justified to taking territory, to expanding our territories. And we used this theory to justify the displacement of the Native Americans, for example, and some other, I guess you could say, cruelties that were perpetrated on certain groups of people. The difference here is Elon isn't exactly trying to uphold democracy, but he feels like manifest destiny that he is ordained by a higher power in order to do what he needs to do, because he kind of sees himself as the creator of a new world order. Okay, we'll just say it that way. And there is some sort of justification for that here. Protecting himself in heaven, in the sky, doing what he has to do, blocks, strong defenses. I'm watched over by others. I kneel before you, asking advice. Guru, I don't want to go to jail. I would rather be unalived. The next word that I heard, and I'm not going to say it, I didn't receive the word unalived. I'm doing that for the purpose of YouTube. And the next couple words that I received, I don't feel I can say after what happened to Linda G in one of her last videos. We'll just say there was some sort of agreement I felt Elon was making that would be similar to what some Japanese pilots did in World War II. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that, and you can fill in the blanks. But I got that sort of a pact or agreement. And then I heard, I am at peace with that. So in these two, this idea of protecting himself in heaven and the sky, I feel like this has something to do with the internet or with his technologies up there, that is where he was going to get some sort of protection, doing what he has to do. There's some implications here, protecting and doing what he has to do, that Elon may have felt like it's now or never, or I'm going down, like that kind of feel. Blocks and strong defenses might have something to do with whatever this thing in the sky, fill in the blanks, may have done to results. Okay, blocks, there's some defenses there. This idea of being watched over by others. I kneel before you asking advice, Guru. Okay, not mentioning any names, but I think he might be in a country called Russia. And I had this vision. It's a pop culture reference. I feel like it came from one of the Marvel movies where the bad guy, like he was like a bad guy, but he was kneeling before a bigger bad guy who seemed to be controlling all the little bad guys. And then when I questioned that, I was like, oh, what movie was that from? It's like I could see it, but I couldn't place the name. They also gave me, because I feel most comfortable in the Star Wars world, they gave me the image of Darth Vader when he kneeled before the Emperor. And it's the same kind of thing. We see it in our mythology, that maybe Elon, allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only, could be a bad guy, but he has someone else pulling the strings for him. He has to, in a sense, pledge his allegiance to someone stronger than him, maybe even more evil. All right, we'll just leave it at that. And he seemed to be humbly bowing down to this person and asking for advice. And why would he want to ask someone like that advice? Because he seems to be serving this person for a bigger purpose. And that's when he said, I don't want to go to jail. So it's like maybe he was asked to do this. Maybe he was saying, this is where we need you to be of service. And he responded, I don't want to go to jail. I would rather be unalived. So there was something like, I don't want to get caught for this. I can't live the rest of my life in jail. And that's when there was some sort of pact was made so that he wouldn't have to go to jail. All of this is pretty dark stuff, to be honest. And this is when it changes, it shifts. So think about a movie and all of a sudden I'm in a new scene. And I get a vision of Biden. And he's sitting in a room. It's empty. This is weird. It's like it's a white room and he's sort of sitting in the middle of it. So maybe that's symbolic of his time with God. And I get the voice that I think is the voice either in his head, in his heart, or his own spirit guides. And they say, listen closely. Your heart expands. Lead your life with love. Love the world and community around you. Walk the path aligned to your integrity. Keep moving forward. You are divinely guided. Do not be afraid to make bold and fearless decisions. It is time to be direct. This is your destiny. Nothing is stopping you. So I may have interrupted his prayers, his own personal prayer session. There seemed to be a Joe Biden who was trying to make a moral, spiritual, and maybe even legal decision. We saw in the last video, I had this sort of wrestling with courts. I got a lot with the courts What are my boundaries? What are my limitations? It's as if he was getting some sort of legal consultation. I feel like we're at the point where he had his moment, his Jesus in the garden prayer moment when he asked the Father, why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. And again, I am not comparing Biden to anything like a Jesus figure, but I am getting that sort of similarity, that sort of moment where I need my own personal moment with God before I make this decision. Then I got social circle, flattery to gain. It's in the stars. Have hope. Be optimistic. Open to change and transformation. So that social circle, flattery to gain, it's almost like, okay, I'm just going to smile and flatter everyone. And yes, of course you won. And that sort of thing. I think that's been part of the plan. This idea that it's in the stars, I feel like has a double meaning throughout the soul writing session. I keep getting image of the sky for allegedly for entertainment purposes only, but I do feel like this is a reference to Elon's technology, that's where the problems lie. That's where the problems originated. And so it's kind of like the Spirit saying, it's in the stars. That's how it happened, Biden. Like, it's almost like he's receiving that information, but also there's that idea of it's in the stars, it's your destiny. So there seems to be a little double meaning there. Listening, messages are received. In this little segment, I almost feel like he's listening to intel. So listening, messages received. There's some sort of intel coming in. There's some sort of information or messages. Or maybe they were listening in on Elon, because this reading is about Elon. So maybe they were listening. They were receiving messages about him. And then I heard Spirit say, and this is to Biden again, you are hearing us. Are you trusting these messages? Follow your inner guidance at this time. Give your doubts and worries to us. You are communicating with heaven. It seems to be a reassurance to him that he is receiving some sort of intuitive message from someone who's protecting him. I feel like it's his guides and the angelic realm. There are a lot of spirits around Biden right now. And so, yes, he's hearing that maybe through his intuition. I also just can't let go of the fact that he's received some very important intel. And I feel like Spirit has directed this information to him. This is where it gets kind of crazy. Investigation, pulling the strings behind the scenes, communications blocked or misdirected, trying to pull a fast one. We now see through the illusions. There's an investigation. It's probably been going on since the election. We know that there are news articles of raids that have happened. This is happening, okay? I think this is ongoing, like right now. They know that Elon pulled the strings behind the scenes, allegedly. They know that he did something with communications blocked. That's information that's coming from space is somehow blocked or misdirected or sent somewhere else, right? So there is some sort of a manipulation here. And now we see it. We know how he did it. We know what happened. Now I'm really getting to Elon's psyche, back in Elon's head again. Change, travel, planning a getaway, exile. Then my outlook will improve. I can still create change, be hopeful, a new beginning. And that's when I asked Spirit specifically, directly, is Elon escaping justice? They said he is looking at his possibilities. He is seduced, retreating into an unrealistic fantasy. And then my dowsing rods said yes. So there is some sense that once they've cracked the code, and who knows, maybe they've already done this, Elon has some information himself like, oh my goodness, they know I'm going down. And there is a moment where he tries to implement plan B. And it's funny that they said, yes, he would do it, which makes me feel like he might literally get his aircraft, I'm going to say aircraft, off the ground. He's planning to be exiled somewhere else. And he's hoping that he can still create change or shenanigans somewhere else, just from afar. I don't think he gets that far, though. It's like he's seduced. He's living in an unrealistic fantasy, seduced. So I feel like someone's feeding him information like, you can do this, we'll protect you, don't worry about it. And that's when the tables are turned. It's like he might try to escape, but I don't think he's going to be successful. Because the next paragraph says, loss of mobility. You are not going anywhere. Expected aid is not coming through. Life seems useless and meaningless. This was a waste of your time. Something stops him. Expected aid does not come through. So maybe he was expecting to be let into a certain country and there's a block. Maybe he was expected to get some sort of help to make the journey and he's blocked. Whatever his plan was, there was some sort of help that he was relying on that doesn't come through. And I hear the government saying that, loss of nobility, you are not going anywhere. So I feel like there's been some sort of block from the government itself, allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only. And I have to say that during this time, this attempted escape, and then it doesn't happen, and then they have him, they showed me a scene from the movie The Godfather, which is one of my favorite films. Yes, I have like a dark side. And it's that scene that I've always, as a filmmaker, I loved how it went down. The baptism scene when Michael is baptizing his son and you're hearing the whole ceremony in Latin, and then it's like, amen. Then flash to the fact that he's taking down all his enemies, all the people who are vying for power at one time. And he's like, amen. Then he goes through another, do you reject Satan? And then you see all the bad stuff. It's a brilliant scene, just cinematically. And that's really dark. We're talking about the mob and horrible things. But I feel like there is some sort of a takedown that's very similar to that. It's almost like Biden might be in one place, just doing his thing, but he's already made the call. Okay, he's already made the plan. And so on the day of the plan, I feel like he is like Michael, just going about his business, and everybody involved with this is going to be taken down at once. Maybe that's why I saw everybody watching the screen in that big room. Someone said it's another kind of situation room because it didn't seem like the ones we see in the pictures, more like NASA. Maybe that's why I saw all the different screens, and it seems like almost a worldwide takedown. That's what it feels like. And it's as if it all happens on one day and Biden is just like sitting back, doing whatever it is he does on a normal day because he already made the call. And maybe that's connected to the expected aid does not come through. I've always felt that there were other people involved with this, that it wasn't just the United States, and that there's some sort of worldwide connection here that's happening all at once. Then they said, justice comes. You will account for your actions. I'm falling. I'm their victim. I feel sick. Life has knocked me down. I need to make a decision. Maybe we can make an agreement. Maybe there is a win-win. So I have here, once he's caught, he's like, what? You know, like I didn't expect this. He has that sick feeling, like, what do I do now? This is not what I wanted to do. And then he tries to negotiate. I just don't think, though, that this win-win negotiation is going to go down. Not this time, because the next paragraph, I get law and order. I saw this burning I didn't see the being that was holding it. I just saw a hand with a burning sword. So it kind of reminded me like the sword of truth. And I wrote divine justice, question mark. But again, we have in the skies, truth in the skies. So maybe it's just representative of everything coming out. Truth and justice will prevail. You get what you deserve. Not me. I didn't do it. Not guilty. So much money. We need to reverse this chaos. So he's going to, deny everything and maybe point fingers at someone else and do all of that. And there is an implication here that all of this money in this election situation, all of this money in the world that has pooled together is causing the chaos, and we need to reverse the chaos. And that's why we will not do a deal with you. Okay, there will be no deals this time. Things are not going as planned. You are out of your league. You started something you can't finish. Really, you are just a beginner. Brash young professionals. You think you know everything. I feel like that's the government. I almost got a sense of an interrogation here, to be honest. And they're kind of laughing at Elon. Like, you thought you were all that in a cup of tea, but really, you're just a baby at this. You're sloppy at this. You're dealing with the big boys now. But really, you're just a stupid kid. And I did get an image in that last line. You think you know everything, brash young professionals. They were showing me, like, it might be going back in time a little bit, but just really young tech. And I want to say guys. I didn't see much women there, but a lot of tech guys. And I got this feeling of like Macintosh and, like the early beginnings of everything, and just feeling like we could rule the world. We could do anything. We're smarter than you. We can hack this. We can hack that. We have more knowledge and power than you think. And there is some sense here that the government's saying, you don't know everything. You thought you knew everything, but you're naive. Okay, you're playing in the big leagues now. You're out of your league, they said. This is when I got sort of a chorus in a Greek tragedy. And I heard them say, almost in unison, more than one voice, ah, shapeshifter, deception, self-serving manipulation, tricks to get what you want, liar, thief, con artist. That's when I asked, and this is my question to Spirit, I said, will the government under Joe Biden arrest Elon Musk? They said, we will be happy and comfortable with the outcome. But when I did my wands, they wouldn't move. No answer. This is the one question they would not answer directly. Will the government under Joe Biden arrest Elon Musk? You are not to know. You're not to know right now, except that they did say, don't worry, you will be happy and comfortable with the outcome, whatever that outcome is. That doesn't necessarily mean he's arrested, but whatever happens, we will be happy with the result. So there has to be something blocked for me here. This is why I've gotten some ambivalent answers with some of my questions, and this is one of them. Then I heard the chorus say again, socially awkward. You were caught up in materialism, all your energy caught up on the product of your labors or your next acquisition. So again, it's like a spirit chorus, like in a Greek tragedy, that is telling us the moral tale, telling us this is what happens when you go down this path. Then I got something very interesting. I got an image of a pirate, but then they said, unearthing buried treasures, making discoveries others have overlooked. Goodness, all I could think of was Ivana's coffin. Ivana's coffin, buried treasures. And maybe it's not even just that. Discoveries others have overlooked. There might be other things physically buried. Swear to God, because it felt real. It didn't feel metaphoric. Like we're unburying things from in the earth that people have hidden. And then it's as if they tell Elon, take care of your business obligations, unemployment. There seems to be some sort of reorganization, change in his power to do anything with his businesses, taking care of your business obligations. So maybe they mean we're taking care of things now. We have your business now. You're unemployed. I think that's basically what they're saying here. And then I heard next fall, which would be a year from now, Elon is not celebrating. He is not celebrating, they said. And they end with the word truth. Now, of course, we want justice now, but if something like this really does go down, it could be next fall when he actually goes to some sort of a trial to make things official, or maybe there's a trial that ends in the fall with a verdict. Whatever this is, I feel like he's going down for something because the truth comes out. So I asked directly, Spirit, I said, does Elon Musk go to jail? I get, he tries to hide, manipulate the circumstances. Surrender. I surrender. Someone has stabbed me in the back. Loss of a friend. And then I heard, et tu, Brute? Defeat. Endings. The wands say yes. So I got multiple voices in that answer. I think first they're like talking to me directly. Yeah, well, is he going to go to jail? Well, he's going to try to hide. He's going to try to manipulate the circumstances. So maybe that was his attempted escape, but then he got caught. And then I get manipulating the circumstances. We got that he was trying to negotiate in some way, make a deal. So there's all of that, but it ends with him surrendering. They said surrender. And he says, I surrender. That's when I get him saying, someone has stabbed me in the back. Loss of a friend, et tu, Brute? I kind of feel someone's going to sell him out. Someone that he really trusts puts the final nail in his coffin. All right, so stay tuned for that. I don't know who this is, but defeat and endings. The dowsing rods told me, yes, he is going to jail. That is his fate. And then I asked, will the government's investigation of Elon Musk overturn the election results? I got the star card. Yes, it's in the stars. America. Okay, so again, yes, it's in the star. We have this star metaphor that just keeps in the sky, in the stars, and this idea of destiny. And then I did the dowsing rods and they said yes. So it seemed very positive for America, and there would be some sort of overturning of the results. They finished this session by saying, unlocking blocked energy, awakened, continue to pray. And then I pulled from this deck, the Oracle of the Crystal Skulls, Patrice Marty. And I pulled Max, the Crystal Skull Max. And I was drawn to this little, I guess you could say, poem or blurb from the book that describes what Max represents. And I was told to write it down as sort of the final words. And they said, and this is from Patrice Marty's book, message for peace. For the mistakes that kill Earth Mother, efforts required for its rebirth, love of humanity, courage to rectify mistakes. Together, we will create a better world. So, yeah, the fate of Elon Musk. I feel like this is happening as we speak. I think he's going down. That's my personal delusion here, based on the soul writing I received. I think he's part of a bigger sting operation. I feel like this is a decision that Biden has wrestled with or will be wrestling with. Maybe he's wrestling with it right now. But he makes a decision and he steps into his destiny. And maybe that destiny is holding on to the presidency until this operation goes down. Maybe it is that for a brief shining moment, he becomes Michael Corleone and he puts on his Doc Brandon glasses to take down the enemies that are knocking at his door to take his power. And he puts things back in order. Maybe that's his destiny. I do know that he seems to be divinely guided, and that Elon Musk, his fate is to go to jail. And that's what I'm getting. So that is my reading on Elon Musk, his fate, and his destiny. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share it with all your friends. I want you to hang in there. And as always, it's a pleasure reading for you. Bye-bye.